Okay, hello, welcome. Okay, so this may be labeled wrong. Did I change this to 7? Yes, this moron 7. Okay, so welcome to the OmniRift Q&A dev stream. We do this every Friday at 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Basically, you bring your questions, and I'm going to be working on this game the whole time. So, again, you can ask anything you want to, and I will be checking in on the comments as I develop this game. So I'm going to just get right into this. This is a game I've been developing for a long time, and I've just recently been working on the steering behaviors for enemies. And right now what I have is basically this behavior here. You can see this interceptor is chasing me, and one problem is the lack of accuracy when I'm moving. But yeah, basically it chases me, it goes in front of me, it goes behind me. There are some changes I'd like to make it, such as I want to like multiply it by the velocity of my ship, because that way, like, its destination, I want to multiply by the velocity of my ship. Hello, Zaza, is that how I pronounce that? How's it going? So yeah, one problem I'm noticing is that I want to factor in the velocity, because that would make it go farther in front of me, and it would make it go, it would make it end up closer to me when it jumps behind me. That way, it doesn't, go too far back, and it doesn't go too little forward, if that makes any sense, just because of just the way that it's intercepting. Okay, so I don't know. I'm thinking I might take a break from working on that, because I've been working on this for so long. But I don't know. I might. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. So yeah, I don't know. I'm also thinking about like the next features to work on. So actually, I think I'm gonna grab my notebook here for a second. Okay, so I'm at that point where, yeah, starting something new may help. Create a fresh mind, tackle another day. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it. Basically, my past 3 weeks have been like trying out various solutions to steering, and I mean, this is actually. I mean, this has been like, this problem has been around for at least like 6 months. I actually made my entire own solution to it and scrapped it, because I didn't like it, it didn't feel natural, and it wasn't a perfect solution. Then I kind of like went more into the steering route, the traditional steering behaviors route. Found something that worked better. So yeah, I think I will come back to this. I also at the point where I need to figure out, kind of need to figure out what I'm gonna work on next. So I have like basically my agile board here. Oh yeah, I was gonna make it so these guys actually only follow the player if they detect it. Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. So did I change this to an async behavior already? Where am I going here? Okay, so need to open writer. Pursue unit, intercept. No, okay, so. Let me see where my AI is. This is not quite what I want, so I'm going to start off with a new script. That's not going to work well. Scripts. Yeah, sure, go for it. What question do you have? This is probably going to change from being the Condor AI, but we will see. Actually, I'm going to call this let's just say like pursue trespass AI, something like this. Trying to put an audio clip to sound on your collision with a coin. Okay. So what problem with that are you having? Because I could actually show you. I mean, yeah. I'm gonna let you like describe like what exactly is the pressing issue first, so that I don't insult your intelligence. Okay. It gets destroyed on contact, but that's it. Okay, so let me actually throw something in here for you really quick. So private void on collision enter. So you probably have something like this on collision enter, and maybe you're doing something like checking. This is a very simple let's just say, for example, maybe you're doing like is a coin, right? So you're doing whatever check if coin, do something if coin, right? And so it sounds like, so what you're doing is it gets destroyed on contact. So imagine that this is just a player script. So once the player collides with a coin, you might be calling like destroy other, right? Let's just say other dot game object. So I'm guessing you have something like that for destroying the object, like when you're picking it up. So as for playing a sound, one thing you have to keep in mind is that obviously, like in Unity, you need some sort of object to, if you want to actually communicate with the Unity like game loop, you need the object to, or some object to exist to actually call that. But rather than just object, you need a game object which has a mono behavior to do something, right? So obviously something needs to be playing the sound. So you could say, you know, make the coin, right? Like let's say other dot get component, transform dot get component, audio source, right? And then let's just say, you know, we have an audio clip in here. Probably maybe the coin has the audio clip, so private, or I'll just call it public for now. Public audio clip. on her coin pickup sound, right? So basically, here's one thing that you could do is, oh, this is not where that goes. So yeah, let's say you have an attribute coin pickup sound and you have an on-collision enter that does something with the coin pickup, right? And it's doing this destroy. So what's wrong with this is, let's say dot sound or dot clip, I think it is, equals this, right? And let's just, for the sake of being fast, use get component twice, but yeah, don't do that. Get component is expensive. So I mean, this is what you would do for playing it, and this is what you would do for destroying it. But obviously, notice that, I mean, the problem here is now it looks like my stream is being a little funky. So I'm going to reiterate what I was just saying there, hoping that my internet will not cut out. Not sure what was going on there. Anyway, so basically what I have here is here's where it's destroying the game object, and here's where it's playing the sound. So there's a problem here where what I'm doing is destroying a game object and then I'm trying to reference it. So that might be like the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, just grab the audio source attached to the coin, play the clip. Not a perfect idea, just because you actually won't have access to this audio source. So there's a couple solutions, right? So you need some audio source, and assuming that you have 3D volume in your game, which you probably do, or I guess spatial volume, I should say, then you want that audio source to play at that position where the coin was picked up. So depending on the scale of your game, you might just say, okay, an easy solution is I'll just have an audio source attached to my player, and then what I'll do is get component in the player, and then say, I don't know, get component audio source, and do the same stuff here. So I'm just going to copy this actually, and instead of being slow, I'm going to do it faster. Right. So player plays coin sound, enemy plays coin sound. So to quickly go over this, because again, I don't know your skill level, obviously in Unity, when something here is public or has the attribute serialized field, I can just go to the Unity editor and wait too long because I have too many third-party assets built into my editor. And then over here, let's say my Condor has this, or it's called Pursue Trespass AI, but just ignore that for now. So obviously you can see my coin pickup sound here. I can just browse my repository and find one of these, right? By the way, that's universal sound effects. I'd recommend it. Anyway, so yeah, you would obviously apply the reference to the sound there, and then after you do that, then this code would work. What this would do is make the coin sound play at the player, assuming that the player that has this attached has an audio source component, which is literally you would have to add component audio source, right? Yeah. So one concern there is that you're setting the actual clip of the audio clip here as for your player, which might be an issue because you don't necessarily want to change the audio clip to be one thing, because the player might make 10 different kinds of sounds and you might not want to set it there. So one other approach is you might instantiate an audio source at the player or at the position of that collision, right? So to do that, you would just say instantiate. I think I can just say new game object, right? So let's say game object equals new game object. Let's instantiate the game object. Right, and then let's say position, transform dot position equals other dot. Oh, actually, this should I should not be calling this other. It's a collision. I'm gonna just call this collision. So we can just, I think we can just say collision dot. Where is it? Contact. Yeah, let's just say contacts dot first for the sake of assuming that, and they did actually that point. So we're just getting the first point that collided with that was in that collision, right? So basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a new empty game object at that position where the collision happened, right? So for my last part, I'll just add a component. Add component audio source. Right, and then what I can do here is say get a reference to it. So source equals. Sorry if this is getting complicated. If this is getting too complicated, basically this is not a bad solution. So otherwise, entertain me for a second here as I complicate this. So here I'm grabbing a reference to that audio source that was added to this game object that was put in the position of the collision after we instantiated it, which will again happen every time you pick up a coin. So this source here, what you can do is say source.clip, just like we did for the other ones, equals coin pickup sound, and then we can say source.play. Right. So this is the same thing. Only problem is, okay. Only problem is here that we're creating a game object and leaving it there every time you hit a coin, which is going to clog up both memory and make the game run slower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not sustainable. So there's two options here. You could use object pooling, which I'll talk about in a second, or you could just destroy this audio source after time, right? So one thing you could do is you could use invoke, right? Which would do something after a period of time, or you could use a coroutine to destroy it after that audio source is done playing. So the way that I do that is I check the clip's length, right? So let's have an example here. So like let's say destroy, or let's make a private void destroy other game object. So this will take a game object reference, and so what we're going to do here is invoke object to destroy, or I think with invoke you write it with a string name. By the way, I hate this function, so I'm just doing this for the sake of simplicity. Actually invoke this, and I think it's, yeah, method name and then float time. So clip dot length, not clip, coin pickup sound dot length. So audio source or audio clip length is just obviously how long the clip is. So what we're doing here is, let me put comments in. So this is play the clip from new audio source, right? This here is destroy the audio source after it's done playing. And then, so game object equals new game object. I should start making separate projects for these now. Actually, I'm going to leave another window or Unity window open in the future. So here to go. Okay, so make a new game object. Move its position to the collision area. Give it an audio source. Okay. Then what we're doing here is you could invoke it. you can invoke this after that length time, and then what this would do is just destroy object to destroy, right? So what this would do is every time you hit a coin, create a new game object, play the sound. After the sound's done playing, it would destroy that game object. And notice how I'm not doing a stupid check. Like you could check if, you know, if source.is playing. Some people never do this. Never do this. Sometimes people will check if an audio source is playing, and then they'll, you know, do something, right? So this is, you know, if it's not playing, then do something. This is not good because you're performing a check, you know, over and over and over again, whereas over here you just tell it, wait a bit, and then do something. So you give it one call, which is more elegant and more efficient, rather than checking every frame whether something's playing. So that's the purpose of doing this. So now invoke is a function that sucks, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is use a coroutine instead. So over here, I'll make a private enumerator. This is, I think this is, okay, this is the second to last part of my complexity here. And note that all of this works, but it's just for the sake of better coding conventions / efficiency. So over here, private enumerator, what am I going to do? Destroy after. Looks like I'm down. Okay. Don't know why it's cutting out, but that's annoying. So hopefully it's back up and hopefully you can hear me again. So I'm just making this coroutine here. So destroy after time. So there's a float seconds and there's a game object thing to destroy. I wrote thing to be inconsistent. So what this is going to do is the same thing as that, except, no, right, this is, I'm changing this to object. So in here what I'll do is instead of using invoke, the reason I don't like invoke is because it uses a string to reference something, and you don't get a reference to the actual, you don't get a reference to the thing that's waiting to call something. It's just Unity does some, you know, weird stuff. So I recommend using invoke, but so here I'll just finish up here instead of blabbering about nothing. So what you would do in an enumerator, if you wanted to use it as a coroutine, is you would return some sort of wait value. So here you can do wait for seconds, fixed update. There's end of frame, which is just regular update, and so on. So what we're going to do is wait for seconds, and then after we do that, oh, this is yield return new. So you want to yield, which means like, you know, wait for this thing, which is basically an amount of time. So what you can do here is after this amount of seconds, destroy that object, and we can just comment this out. Using function you should not use. So over here, what we also could do is start a coroutine. We can start destroy after time. Nope, destroy after time. And in here, we would just have to call it with the amount of seconds. So the amount of seconds is that clip.length, sorry, coin pickup sound.length. And the game object we want to destroy is, I guess, instantiated go. Yeah. Oh, and actually I used invoke wrong here, now that I think about it, because it has an argument. Can you actually use invoke with arguments? Yeah. Actually, this is not valid because, so there's another reason why this is a terrible idea. Since you can't use arguments, I might be wrong, there might be an overload where you can. You would actually need to make a hideous reference here. And then you would have to store the object to destroy. instantiated go. So again, that's the bad solution. I'm commenting it out because I never want to see it again. Okay, so over here with the coroutine, this would would be everything you would need to do to destroy it after the coroutine. So yeah, so there's one concern here is that this coroutine is now attached to the player's this mono behavior. This one's, yeah, I guess it's attached to this one's mono behavior. So if this were to disable or get destroyed, you would have some issues with the running coroutine. So you would want to make sure you start this coroutine on a game object you know that isn't going to go away for some other unforeseen factor. In the case of a simple game, it's not a huge deal. But in theory, it's nicer to have some sort of manager that would deal with this, which I do use. Okay, so the final complication I will make is that, in general, you should not instantiate something at runtime if you don't need to. So that's why you might want to use an object pooling solution for this. So that's kind of beyond the scope of the rest, the 30 minutes of the stream. But again, this will work, and it's not an issue unless you notice stuttering in your game, which I always have noticed stuttering in the games that I've worked on whenever I instantiate something on the fly. I've never released a game that instantiates things on the fly in like fast action. I have actually, like Rebound is like I think the first game that I released, and that one it has stuttering because it instantiates bosses sometimes. But it has object pooling. So the idea of object pooling is you instantiate things ahead of time, and then instead of creating game objects, you set them active so that they become available to use, or they can do stuff without you having the expensive instantiation process. So I mean, I probably have some object. Yeah, I have this object pooler script. Basically, what this is too complicated to talk about, but basically, what it'll do is, excuse me. What it'll do is, I can pull a prefab, or I can pull actually. What I did for the audio sources, because I've had this problem too, is I made a script called getPooledComponent, where basically I would tell it to create a set of like some number of objects where that's the pool size. So let's say I would, when the game starts, create 10 audio sources that I can make them do anything, and then if they're all being used, then it will expand the pool to use a new audio source. So the idea here is you might want to make 10 audio sources ahead of time, for example, set them all as inactive. Then once you hit a coin, you would want to, from that list of inactive audio sources that are available to use for a coin sound, you would want to set one of them active, and then you would want to tell it to play, and then tell it to, instead of destroy after time, disable after time, in the same way as this. So again, that's beyond the scope, but I think we have a couple of object. I think there's one on the theory of object pooling, and then there's an actual implementation one. So I think that is as far as I'm going to go with this solution. Yep. So does that answer the question? Oh, in 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, so I hope that answers the question. I guess let me know if you want this code. I'm just gonna throw it in some notepad somewhere. Okay, what was I doing? I was thinking about what I should actually make next. Yeah, no problem. I am here to help. I'm also here to develop video games and balance time between the two. Except mostly answer questions. Okay, so... Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. The stealth thing. Actually, this is part of the actor, so let me... Should be a spot listener on one of these. Oh no, it's on here. Okay, so I have a spot listener and an actor. Okay, so actor. Oh, there we go. Unobscured. Oh yeah, so the human actor will do something. I think regular actors should do nothing. Oh wait, no, that's an override. What am I talking about? Okay. Distance. Stop firing weapons. Okay, so... Is this what you were suggesting? What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Oh, did you send a link? It didn't show. I think the links might get filtered out. Let me find a link for it. I was recommending this. Oh, yeah. That's funny. The filtering is actually the first time it actually did anything, it was a problem. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got a lot of sound effects for a lot of different things, which is useful because I don't do any audio. Do a lot of things, but I do not do audio. Yeah, I keep forgetting what I was doing. Okay, so what I think I'll do is just simple. So there should be more behavior here that checks in a radius, like a radar kind of thing that makes them suspicious so that they'll go and look for the player. What I'm going to start with is just using this on spotted. So when they spot the character, I think what I'll do is, so I'm going to need to make another actor. Sure, sounds good. Okay, good luck. And no problem. Okay, I think instead of this, yeah, I'm gonna need a new actor. Ships combat. This is, I don't need to overcomplicate this. So the detection actor. Okay, so not this one. I might delete that script. This needs to be within my namespace. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm not gonna change the rotation. I'm not quite gonna do that. So I think what I'll do is, okay, so I need to grab a reference to this pursuit script, which actually should not be called pursue unit. It should be called intercept. Intercept target unit. Okay, so intercept target unit. So what I'm gonna do is this Condor actor. I think I will make an awake reference. Forever private void awake. Private intercept target unit. Steering behavior. Okay, so I'll grab the reference at the start of the intercept target unit. Then I think what I'll do is once we spotted the human actor, so one problem is that actually the spot listener is going to keep not following anymore once we, okay, so what I'll do is just, I'll store coroutine until I get a better solution for this. So private coroutine interception coroutine. I forget, can I instantiate that with null? Yeah. Equals start coroutine steering behavior dot intercept. Okay, so interception coroutine equals null, so intercept needs to become public. Okay, so instead of while target, what I should do is pass an actor, and then I can check if the actor is still targetable. So I guess maybe each actor can determine if it's targetable. Maybe that's a good solution for this. Okay, so let's not do while target. Let's just change this to while true. So what I'm going to constantly be doing is flying to the player while, or as soon as they get seen. So intercept, let's just say human actor, yeah, component, rigid body 2D, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's not the intended behavior, but I will... Yeah, I think basically what should happen is a radar should check if the player is nearby. If the player gets hit by the radar, a interceptor, I actually wrote a spec for this, the interceptor should become suspicious. Once it becomes suspicious, it should, ooh, the best part is I don't need to store a target anymore. Once it becomes suspicious, it should wander around the general area in which the player radar was hit. So it should just kind of go in that direction, but like search around so it like tries to find the player. Because it'll always know it's there. Like, I mean, imagine you see something on your radar. You're gonna know it's there, but you have to see it to shoot at it, basically. You could shoot at the radar, but anyway. Not going for realism, so whatever. So actually in this, I don't need to store a target anymore. Oh, that was why. Okay, whoops. Okay, so now my interceptor is doing nothing until okay, and it's still not. That's because I do not have the right script on it. So, pursue trespass AI. Let's ignore that for now. Intercept target unit, that's important. I'm not supposed to have that on there. Ship controller is not even being used, so whatever for now. Okay, so in theory I should walk into its light. Once I get hit by the light, it'll start intercepting. Everything's gonna be great, it's perfect. I love it. Okay, object reference not set to an instance of an object. We don't have a ship controller. I'm a genius. Ship controller. Tricked myself there with the inactive component. Oh. Oh no. I may have just canceled the start again. It's really too slow. I should start streaming this on my my desktop. Need to start making beefier Macs. This is like one of the highest end ones too. Okay, so if I go in here, it'll start shooting at me and it'll start intercepting. If I try to run away, it'll still, yeah. What I should do is I should also make it like cancel its intercept route if the player goes too far away. Like if I go all the way up here and then it tries to fly over there, like it should do a turn sooner because I've flown away too far. But I think as long as I affect the velocity with that, then it should work correctly. I also need to make it so that I can't like mess with its path, because if I bump into it, if I like try to cram my ship into it, which is pretty hard because of the velocity factor I put on, but anyway, whatever. There's just some stuff to fix, and that is that. But at least I can pretend I'm fighting it. Oh, I also need to set up my Xbox controller on Mac because right now I'm using the mouse to turn around, or actually I'm using a trackpad to turn around, and I'm using 2 fingers to fire the laser at the same time. It works, but it's kind of awkward. With the controller, this game is a lot more fun. It also killed me a long time ago. Okay, so there's that. So I also should add in a radar. So, and actors in general should be able to be spotted by radar. Only thing is, yeah, the only thing is I wonder if anything that isn't the player needs to be spotted by radar. Because I think it would be nice as a player to, I mean, I guess I need a radar. So whenever the player detects something with its radar, maybe it'll like show up on the map. Whenever an enemy detects something on its radar, it'll probably only check the layer for the player, grab the player's actor component, and launch the unspotted human, you know, actor, blah, 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 blah. Okay. With that said, I'm going to make more asteroids. Actually, speaking of making more asteroids, I actually need to make more asteroid art because I've been lazing around with that. I was not satisfied with the last one that I made, and I just kind of got lazy and didn't really want to make more. But I think I was planning on making like at least 50 variants. I feel like even that'll be too little though, 50 variants. Eventually you're going to recognize they're all the same, so not sure what the solution for that is, but we'll see. Maybe I just need to make 100 of them. But they are hard to make, especially because I don't do this art thing. Parseum. But yeah, this is the asteroid mining. Give me that, yes. I also need to make the visual for, oh yeah, now this guy woke up. How's it going, dude? I also need to make the, prospector needs to make an indication visual. Whenever I prospect something, it should get like detected through the map. I also should really add damage. I mean, it's kind of important. I also should make the functionality for the other guys, other enemies. Okay. I'm like getting distracted. I'm actually like having fun playing this game. I mean, it's not quite a game yet, but it's pretty cool features, if I may say so myself. I cannot trade with the trader gunship. That's weird. Which one is the trader? Maybe it's this one. That's weird. Wait, which one of these has the trader? This one has the trader actor. That was right. Huh. So why could I not trade with this guy? Huh. On selected. Huh. Interact. kind of weirding me out. Why is that not working? Actually, I've never seen this one before. So is my script for selecting not running? Human interaction controller. Not player, not ignore raycast, not projectile. Huh. Trader gunship. Polygon collider. Does that have to be a trigger? No, it's turning red, so unselected for human. That's weird. Master.actor. Trader actor. So I'm not sure why interaction dialog is not popping up. So I'm running a log here to see if it's being called at all. It's not. That's strange. Oh, it's because this thing also has a... This is not the right prefab. It's because my prefab references. Sometimes prefabs in Unity are just so annoying. Prefabs, ship. No. Yeah, I'm gonna... This is... Okay, this one is the interceptor. The interceptor is supposed to be called the condor. This one, trader gunship. This is going to be called the trader. Yeah, the load times in my editor are actually way too high because of all the third-party scripts. On Windows, it's not so bad, especially because I have very strong hardware. This is... Why does this have a space? Yeah, actually the reason why the pinwheel comes up is because of typesafe, which whenever I add something, it scans and generates a... Oh, there's me screwing up again. It generates constant references to everything, which is really nice actually for not having to drag stuff around in the editor, depending on what it is. Although in this case, it really should be disabled. Condor. Okay. So I am going to test this really quick. As soon as I test this, I will be getting off. But definitely make sure to tune in each time, because every Friday at 9 p.m. I do this. And again, you can ask me anything, and I'm going to be working on this game, which hopefully should be entertaining. And I hope it'll be more entertaining in the future as it becomes more of a game, because right now I'm working mostly on the underlying technical features still. And I've said, like, you know, now I'm starting to make it more of a game, which is true in that the actual interceptor behavior is like starting to feel like combat, so eventually the player will be destroyed and the player will be able to destroy things sparingly because you're not in the combat ship. But more on that in the future. And here I am trading stuff, by the way. So actually a long time ago I made the trading interface and the inventory and the ability to craft things. So anyway, that is going to be it for this one. So I will catch you guys next time. Again, check the stream out next Friday at 9 p.m. And also you can email me. It's at Bilal@omnirif.com. You can also check it's in the channel page. Just email me and let me know what kind of videos you're looking for, or send the YouTube channel a message. With all that said, I will catch you guys next time and have an awesome weekend. See you later.